welcome back to my channel. There seems to be something in the air this week because the luxury makeup world has gone bonkers for summer, the Soleil season, and we've got a whole load of new releases. So I thought today that I'd have a look at what has been released and have a discussion with you about whether or not I am tempted to purchase any of these new releases and add them to my collection. As you know, I'm not sponsored, and everything that I show you I have purchased myself, so I do have to be careful when I'm tempted not to necessarily buy things that will languish at the back of a drawer. So I have a set of rules, and those rules are I can replace old favourites because I know and trust in them. I do go for things that are genuinely unique, that need trying out, and that may well become a new favourite. I do buy things that genuinely excite me. So something that not necessarily is just unique, but is really exciting and lovely to own. So maybe one of the Guerlain lipsticks, for instance, with the beautiful cases, you know, something that makes luxury makeup worth owning. And I will buy things that complement what I already have in my collection and I'm likely to use regularly. So they're kind of the sort of vague rules that I try and apply. What I try and avoid, no matter how beautiful and no matter how much I really would love to own it, things that replicate what I have from in my collection already and probably will languish at the back of a drawer. So for instance, there's been a plethora of highlighters over the last few months. Some of them look absolutely beautiful, but I have a series of highlighters that I know well, that I trust. So if I bought another one, it was going to bump one of them into a drawer and I don't really need it. So let's explore some of the new releases. So I'm going to start with a lovely collection from Dior. So Dior have brought out a whole series of things. They've brought out powder bronzer and a powder highlighter, but these are in a beautiful case with little daisies on the top, and they just look really beautiful. Very tempting. I'm going to have to really apply my rules here because I do have bronzers and I do have highlighters. Are they unique enough for me to purchase? Not sure, but they look really beautiful and they're retailing at £61 each. One shade of each of those. They've also brought out, and this is really tempting, an eyeshadow palette with 5 eyeshadows. There are 2 shades available here. The first one is called Summer Azure, and that's kind of got sort of slight blues and lovely sort of neutral hues. And that is quite different to a lot of the eyeshadow palettes that I own. And I've been avoiding the blues, and you'll know that I rejected buying the Chanel palette earlier this year. So that one is one that I'm very tempted to buy. The other colour is the Sunset Bronze, which is, again, looks very beautiful, sort of more peaches and pinks. In this case, it does replicate quite a lot of the other quads and palettes that I have and the colours in those. So I'm possibly tempted to get the Summer Azure one in the Dior collection. Other things that Dior have brought out, they've brought out a Dior Addict Lip Maximizer. How can I say it? Dior Addict Lip Maximizer. There's one tongue twister for you, which is a plumping gloss. There's 44 shades available in that. Not what I'm going to go for, I think, because I've got a lot of glosses, but it does look very beautiful. Really does look beautiful. And they've brought out 8 shades of their Dior Flash Stick. I really like these. I'm very tempted by them to put them in my travel makeup bag in particular, but I have got quite a lot of products that are very similar to this, so I will probably avoid it on this occasion, but they do look very lovely, and they're £35 each. They've also brought out a liquid highlighter. This is retailing at £36. I'm not a great fan of liquid highlighters. It just wrinkles on my skin, and various other things have put me off them. I have a couple, but they're not really my thing, so I probably won't buy this, but it does look very, very lovely. And some new shades of their nail polish, and I'm very tempted to buy one of those. So Dior, really lovely collection there. Very, very tempting. Probably will buy one or two things, so watch this space. Let's move on to Tom Ford. And here we have a Soleil collection, and numerous things in this collection. So a £30 hydrating lip oil that looks very lovely, and some tinted lip glows in numerous colours, I think 11 colours, that looks very, very lovely. I don't think I'm going to be tempted by those at this point. Also a Soleil Silky Ultra Radiant Gel Powder Highlighter at just under £50, and a bronzer powder as well, also just under £50. So in that very classic Tom Ford packaging. So they look very, very nice. And I think if I were needing a highlighter, I would possibly go for the highlighter here. It's in 4 shades, but I'm not needing a highlighter, so you know, possibly not, but they do look very lovely. Also for £40, a blush, a liquid blush. Now this looks interesting, but again, not something that I'm desperately wanting at this point in time, and I tend to prefer powder brushes on my skin. But there are a number of shades in this blush, and yeah, might be tempted, but not immediately. Also a Quad Lumiere for the eyes, so Soleil eye colour, Tom Ford calls it. So it's a quartet of silky soft eyeshadows, and there are 5 shades here which look really interesting. They are all really neutral, and they are shimmer shades. So a quartet of shimmering colours. I really like the Peach Dawn, but it really overlaps with quite a lot of other colours that I have, particularly the Natasha Denona. And there's also a sort of really, it's called hazy sensuality, a beautiful sort of pink set. So I'm going to ponder on these because I'm not sure I need them, because it kind of breaks my rule of overlapping quite significantly with other products that I've got. But the finish does look very, very nice. So tempted, but they are £74 for a quad. So they are quite pricey if they overlap. So for now, I'll probably leave it, and I may be tempted later on as one of my current quads in those kind of colour ranges comes to its pan. So, moving on, Hourglass. So Hourglass has brought out an exclusive for Cult Beauty, which is an ambient lighting edit, flushed edit. Gosh, there's lots of tongue twisters today, aren't there? Which is a little face palette, a quad of colours for your face. Now, I own the Deer palette and some of the palettes from Hourglass, so this for me really does overlap with other products that I have from Hourglass and other products that I have from other luxury makeup brands. So I'm unlikely to buy this, but if you don't own one of the Hourglass face palettes, this may well be something that is tempting for you, because it's £72 and you get a range of colours for different looks in one palette, which looks really, really nice. And their ingredients are usually lovely. I really, really like their formulas. They're cruelty free. So whilst this one isn't for me, it might be something that tempts you. So let's move on. Here's another Soleil product, and this is the Hermès Plein Air Soleil de Hermès Powder Limited Edition. Another mouthful. This retails at £100. It's really interesting. really, really interesting. It sort of almost looks kind of like sci-fi. I saw some comments somewhere that it was looking like the Death Star, maybe, which is quite interesting. However, Hermes say that it is inspired by the fleeting beauty of the sunset and that it enhances the skin with a subtle golden glow. Mm. I think it looks really lovely. It falls into that category of I could be tempted to buy it because it's different and exciting, but it doesn't quite do it for me. At £100, I think I'll be giving this one a miss. But it is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And one of those things that I would be tempted to buy because it's beautiful, not because it's actually practical for me and my skin. And I've recently bought the Sisley highlighter, which has a slightly gold. In fact, I've got it on today, slightly golden hue. I don't need anything else with a golden hue. So I will leave that golden sunset or Death Star alone on this occasion. I think they've also brought out some lipsticks, Hermes, so they may be worth looking at as well. So there you go, a few things to think of as the summer collections come out, and I'm going to whisk away now and buy a couple of the Dior products, which I will share with you in due course. Bye-bye.